There's a silent thief sitting in your kitchen. It looks innocent, sweet, harmless. You've trusted it for decades. It was in your coffee, in your childhood desserts, in every holiday gathering. But behind that sweetness is something slowly robbing you of your strength. Before we dive in, I want to ask you something personal. Where are you watching this from? What city or place in the world are you tuning in from right now? Leave your answer in the comments below. At Wellness Over 6060, we're building a powerful community of men who still believe in vitality, strength, and health, no matter their age. And your story matters here. Now back to that thief. You see, after 60, every choice you make speaks louder. Your body becomes more honest. It tells the truth faster. And when sugar enters your system, it doesn't just give you a moment of pleasure. It begins a war inside your body. One that targets your circulation, your testosterone, your energy, and yes, even your ability to get and keep an erection. It doesn't happen all at once. That's what makes it dangerous. It creeps in, silently, daily. While you think you're treating yourself, it's tightening its grip, weakening your blood flow, disrupting your hormones, creating the perfect storm for sexual dysfunction. But the good news is, this story can still change. And it starts right now. Let's now take a slow, serious walk through what sugar really does inside your body, especially if you're a man over 60. Because if you've made it this far in life, you deserve to know the truth. Not the watered-down version, not the polite version, but the real story that no doctor, no commercial, and no product label wants you to hear. Because when you understand the real consequences of what that little white crystal is doing to your health, your strength, your manhood, it becomes impossible to ignore it. When sugar enters your body, the first place it hits hard is your bloodstream. In small amounts, your body can handle it. But most modern foods are soaked in it, hidden in sauces, packed into snacks. Even foods labeled as healthy or low-fat are often loaded with sugar in some form. Glucose, fructose, corn syrup, cane juice. And when it floods your system, your blood changes. It thickens. It becomes more acidic. The smooth flow that your heart worked so hard to maintain becomes sluggish, almost syrup-like. Imagine trying to water a garden with a hose that's filled with sludge instead of water. That's what your arteries experience. And those arteries, the ones carrying oxygen and nutrients to your organs, are essential for one of the most vital functions in a man's life: sexual performance. You see, erections aren't just about hormones or desire. They are about hydraulics, blood pressure, precision timing. When arousal happens, a network of arteries must widen rapidly. The muscles in the penis must relax, allowing blood to rush in and fill the chambers with pressure. That pressure must be sustained, long enough, strong enough, confidently enough, to create a satisfying experience. But sugar says no. Sugar stiffens your blood vessels, but not in the way you want. It damages the endothelial lining, that delicate inner surface of your arteries that tells them when to expand. Without that lining working properly, your body doesn't respond to signals as it should. The arteries don't open as wide. The blood doesn't rush in as freely. And instead of confidence, you're left with frustration. You begin to doubt yourself. And that doubt becomes fear. And fear, over time, becomes avoidance. But it doesn't stop there. Sugar fuels something even worse: inflammation. Chronic, silent inflammation. The kind that doesn't make noise, doesn't cause sharp pain, but eats away at your health like a fire under the floorboards. It builds up in your organs, your joints, and especially your cardiovascular system. It lays the groundwork for diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and yes, erectile dysfunction. Still, most men think, well, I don't eat that much sugar. I don't put 5 spoonfuls in my coffee. But the truth is, you probably are consuming more than you think. That bowl of cereal, sugar. That healthy granola bar, sugar. That slice of bread or white rice, it breaks down into sugar almost instantly. Your body sees no difference. It spikes your insulin. It drops your testosterone. It stores more fat, and it begins a spiral that is hard to climb out of. Because when your testosterone drops, even slightly, everything shifts. You feel more tired, less motivated. Your workouts feel harder. Your muscles respond slower. Your confidence begins to fade. You might not say anything out loud, but deep down, you feel it. That quiet sense of decline. And the worst part? Sugar feeds this cycle like a drug. It gives you a short burst of energy, followed by a crash. Then your body craves more, not because it needs energy, but because your brain has become used to the hit. It becomes emotional comfort, a quick fix for stress or sadness. But each time you give in, you feed the enemy. Now add belly fat to this mix. Excess sugar turns into stored fat, particularly around your abdomen. And belly fat in men is dangerous for one major reason. It creates estrogen. That's right. Fat tissue in men produces aromatase, an enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen. Over time, this hormonal shift changes your entire chemistry. You lose drive. You feel less assertive. Your erections weaken. Your sleep worsens. And your sense of manhood begins to slip through your fingers, not because you're getting older, but because you've been poisoned slowly. The truth is, sugar doesn't just affect your body, it affects your identity, the way you see yourself, the way you move through the world. And for men over 60 who already face a natural decline in hormones and metabolism, sugar becomes a multiplier, accelerating the very things you want to slow down. But the food industry won't tell you that. They'll show you happy families eating ice cream, laughing men biting into frosted donuts, energy bars promising vitality while silently destroying it. Because sugar sells, and the system is built to keep you addicted. But you're not just anyone. You're a man who's made it through life's hardest battles. You've raised families, built careers, fought for your place in the world. You deserve better than a slow, quiet decline. You deserve clarity, strength, desire, confidence, and the power to choose what kind of man you want to be, not just in body, but in mind and spirit. This war is silent, but it's real. And it's happening right now, inside your body, every time you reach for something sweet and processed. It's not about guilt, it's about awareness. Because once you know the truth, you can never unsee it. And that truth? Sugar is not just food. It's a weapon. And you get to decide if you'll keep letting it win. Now let's talk about the silent symptoms. The ones you don't notice at first. The quiet ways sugar sneaks in and starts dismantling your manhood. Not with fireworks. Not with a heart attack. But with subtle shifts, slight changes. Signals that are so easy to ignore until one day they're no longer subtle. It starts with fatigue. You wake up and you're already tired. You think, maybe I didn't sleep well. But even after 8 hours, you feel drained. Your energy dips after meals. You feel sluggish around mid-morning. You grab another coffee, maybe a sweet snack to perk you up. It works, for 20 minutes. Then the crash hits harder. You notice you don't move like you used to. Walking up the stairs feels like work. Your joints feel stiff. Your lower back aches more often. You blame it on age. But in truth, it's sugar-stoking inflammation. Inside your arteries, your muscles, your brain. And then there's your mood. You're more irritable, less patient. Maybe you don't laugh as much, or you catch yourself zoning out, struggling to focus, forgetting simple things. Sugar affects your brain chemistry too. It spikes dopamine, giving you a quick sense of pleasure. But just like any drug, it crashes quickly and leaves your mind in a fog. And over time, it becomes harder to feel joy or desire. Which leads us to the most private shift of all. The one few men talk about, even with their closest friends. You start to notice changes in your performance. At first, it's just occasional. Maybe you're not as hard as you used to be. Maybe it takes longer to get there. Or the sensation isn't as strong. You brush it off. Just stress, you tell yourself. But it happens again. And again. And with it comes shame, frustration, confusion. The truth is, sugar plays a direct role in this. It impacts nitric oxide production, the molecule that tells your blood vessels when to expand. Less nitric oxide means less blood flow, less pressure, less firmness. It's chemistry, not character. It affects your testosterone, the hormone that drives male vitality, confidence, and desire. High sugar diets lower testosterone levels, especially when paired with excess belly fat. You might still feel like yourself, but something feels off. Like the edge is gone. And worst of all, sugar builds dependence. Emotional dependence. For decades, sugar has been tied to comfort, celebration, relaxation. From childhood birthday cakes to treat yourself desserts after a long day. We've been conditioned to turn to sugar for relief. And the more we do, the more our brains wire themselves around it. It becomes a cycle. Stress leads to sugar. Sugar leads to crashes. Crashes lead to more stress. And your manhood is caught in the middle. And here's the most sobering part. The damage can begin long before you ever notice it. Studies have shown that blood vessel damage, especially in the small capillaries that support penile function, can occur years before symptoms appear. By the time you realize something's wrong, the groundwork has already been laid. But that doesn't mean it's too late, because your body, even now, is incredible. It wants to heal. It wants to balance. Your blood vessels can repair. Your hormones can reset. Your energy can return. But only if you stop feeding the enemy. You see, sugar doesn't just live in candy or cakes, it hides in so many foods you'd never expect. Ketchup, salad dressings, yogurt, bread, pasta sauces, fruit juices that look healthy on the surface but carry more sugar than soda. You could be eating it daily without even knowing. That's why awareness is everything. You're not weak. You're not broken. You've just been lied to, for years, by advertising, by convenience, by habit. But that ends today. Because there's another version of you. A stronger, clearer, more energized man. Who's waiting beneath the surface. A man who remembers what it felt like to wake up feeling powerful. A man who doesn't need pills or permission to feel alive again. A man who decides that 60 is not the end. It's the start of something even greater. This isn't about cutting every drop of sugar overnight. It's about noticing, being honest, making choices with your future in mind, replacing sugar with strength, replacing cravings with clarity, replacing the quiet decline with loud, bold progress. And when you do that, you'll see the changes. You'll feel them. In your body, in your mind, in the bedroom. You'll look in the mirror and feel that spark again. The one that sugar tried to take. The one that belongs to you. So now you know. The truth isn't hiding anymore. Sugar has been draining your strength, slowing your blood, lowering your fire. And for years, it's done all this while smiling at you from packages labeled low fat and natural. But now that you see it clearly, what can you do about it? The answer is not in extremes. It's not about locking yourself in the kitchen, throwing away everything you love, or starving yourself with punishment diets. No. You are wiser than that. You've lived enough to know that lasting change comes from consistency, not chaos. And that's where this journey begins, with one powerful decision: to reclaim your vitality. Start small. Go to your kitchen and look at the labels. That's your battlefield now. Words like glucose, fructose, maltodextrin, corn syrup, dextrose. These are all sugar's disguises. Every time you remove one of them from your daily life, you make space for something better. Something that feeds you instead of feeding off you. Next, begin your mornings with strength, not sugar. That means skipping the sweet pastries, the cereals, the fruit juices. All of which spike your insulin and drain your testosterone before the day even starts. Instead, choose proteins, eggs, nuts, avocados. Foods that stabilize your energy and nourish your manhood from the inside out. And speaking of nourishment, one of the most powerful tools you have in this fight is real food. Nature's food. Not factory food. Vegetables, especially dark leafy greens like spinach and kale, provide nitrates that your body converts into nitric oxide, the molecule essential for blood flow and erections. Berries, rich in antioxidants, protect your blood vessels from damage. Fatty fish like salmon support hormone production and fight inflammation. Each bite is a vote for the man you're becoming. But don't stop at the plate. Movement is just as critical. You don't need to run marathons, just walk. Every day, outside, if possible. Feel the wind. Breathe the air. Let your body remember what it's like to move with purpose. Even 30 minutes a day begins to wake up your circulation, stretch your joints, pump fresh blood into the parts of you that have been dormant for too long. And while you're moving, Drink water, not soda, not sugary teas, but water. Hydration is the secret companion of every strong man. It clears your system, supports circulation, balances your organs, and helps your body flush out the sugar that's been poisoning you for years. Now, let's talk about mindset. Because this battle is not just physical, it's mental. Sugar addiction is real, and like any addiction, it fights back when you try to walk away. You might feel anxious, crave something sweet after a meal, miss the comfort of a dessert. But each time you say no, even once, you're training your brain to break free. You're not just quitting sugar. You're rebuilding self-control. And that is the true foundation of masculinity. So when the cravings hit, and they will, have a plan. Drink water. Chew on cinnamon bark. Eat a piece of fruit like an apple or handful of almonds. Breathe deeply and remember your mission. You're not doing this to suffer. You're doing this to rise. To reclaim the energy, the clarity, and yes, the sexual vitality that was always meant to be yours. You see, the real power here isn't just in avoiding something bad. It's in making space for something great. Imagine waking up with energy again, feeling light in your body, clear in your mind, looking at your partner with confidence, not worrying, not hesitating, but knowing that you are fully present, fully capable, fully alive. This is not a dream. This is biology, and it's possible at any age. Yes, even over 60. Because your body still responds to truth, to nourishment, to care, to discipline. And do you want to know something even more powerful? When you take this step, when you change your food, your focus, your habits, people around you notice. Your friends, your wife, your children, even strangers. They'll see the difference. Hear it in your voice, feel it in your presence. And they'll ask you, what changed? And you'll smile. Because deep down, you'll know. You chose to become the strongest version of yourself. Not by buying a pill, not by chasing shortcuts, but by facing the truth and walking a better path. So here's your challenge. Not for next year, not next week. Today, remove one source of sugar from your life. Just one. That soda. That processed snack. That healthy breakfast bar. Replace it with something that serves you. Protein, water, vegetables, anything that strengthens you. Then do it again tomorrow, and the next day. And if you fall, stand back up. You're not weak. You're in training, reconditioning, rediscovering your power. Because this isn't about food, it's about freedom. Freedom from the slow, quiet loss of what makes you feel alive. Freedom to move, to love, to lead, to feel like yourself again. You have a choice, right now, to say no more. No more to sugar stealing your manhood. No more to weakness disguised as convenience. No more to watching life pass you by. Say yes instead. To clarity, to strength, to deeper connection, to fire in your veins and pride in your eyes. Say yes to you. What happens when a man begins to lose his sense of power? Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, intimately. It doesn't come all at once. No, it's subtle. It creeps in through silence, through missed moments, through long nights lying next to the woman you love, feeling disconnected from her and from yourself. And one of the cruelest tricks that sugar plays is that it doesn't just affect your blood. It affects your identity. Because let's face it, intimacy isn't just about sex. It's about presence, about being able to show up fully, confidently, about holding your partner and feeling alive, not anxious, about having the physical ability to connect, yes, but more than that, having the desire, the energy, the clarity to even want that connection. And when sugar begins to damage the delicate dance between hormones and blood vessels and emotional energy, something deeper begins to fade. A spark, a sense of being, a confidence that once burned brightly. You don't talk about it. You might even joke about it with your friends. Say things like, "I'm too old for that now." But inside, it hurts. You begin to avoid those intimate moments. You turn off the light faster. You go to bed earlier or pretend to be tired. And maybe your partner feels it too, but doesn't know how to ask, doesn't want to embarrass you. So now both of you are quiet. Both of you are missing each other, and neither one knows how to break the silence. But here's the powerful truth that many men over 60 never hear. You are not broken. You are not past your prime. And this isn't just how life has to be now. Your intimacy, your fire, your ability to feel desire and connection, they are still there, waiting under the weight of years of sugar, stress, and shame. And when you begin to peel those layers away, by choosing better food, cleaner water, real movement, and self-respect, you begin to find yourself again. Not a version from your past, but a man stronger, wiser, more grounded than ever before. You'll begin to feel it in the mornings, not just physically, but emotionally. A sense of readiness, a sense of calm. The mental fog starts to lift. You feel clearer, more decisive. You remember things. You laugh more. You engage more deeply with the people you love. And yes, you feel more connected in the bedroom too. Not because you're chasing a number or proving something, but because your body is finally working with you instead of against you. Your blood is flowing again. Your nerves are responsive. Your testosterone is rising. And your confidence returns. Not just from performance, but from presence. And your partner notices. She sees the change, feels the energy, the way you look at her, the way you touch her hand during dinner, the quiet strength in your voice. And suddenly, that space between you starts to shrink. The distance becomes closeness. The silence becomes connection. This is what happens when you say no to sugar, not just as a dietary choice, but as a declaration, a decision to reclaim your manhood, your marriage, your spirit. And this path, this healing, it doesn't just serve you. It ripples out. It touches your children, who see their father rise. It touches your grandchildren, who see that age is not a limitation but a lesson in how to live fully. It touches your friends, who might quietly ask, "What's your secret?" And when you tell them, when you share your journey, you don't just heal yourself, you lead others. Because the truth is, there are millions of men walking around with the same frustration, the same confusion, the same quiet pain. They think they're alone, but they're not. And when one man stands up and says, "I'm taking my health back," he gives permission to others to do the same. So let this be your moment, your stand, your declaration. Not for anyone else's approval, but for you. You have more power than you know, more fire left than you've been told. And when you begin to clear your body of what was weighing you down, you'll see it, you'll feel it, you'll become it. Not someday, now. Let's get real for a moment. Knowing that sugar is hurting your body is one thing. But knowing how to actually remove it, how to make changes in a world where it's hidden in everything, that's the part where most men feel stuck. But you don't need to be a nutritionist. You don't need a degree. What you need is clarity, consistency, and courage to begin. Let's start at the heart of your day. Breakfast. Most men over 60 have been conditioned to think breakfast needs to be sweet. Cereal, toast with jam, fruit juice, even yogurt. It all seems healthy, but in truth it's a sugar storm before 9 a.m. And what does it do? It spikes your blood sugar, crashes your energy by noon, and sets you up for cravings the rest of the day. So what can you eat instead? Begin your mornings with protein and healthy fats. Think eggs, boiled, scrambled, or fried in olive oil. Avocados sliced on whole grain or seed crackers. A handful of walnuts or almonds. Maybe a bit of cottage cheese with cucumber slices. These foods stabilize your blood sugar, support hormone production, and help reduce inflammation, all of which directly improve erectile health. And don't forget water. Not coffee loaded with sugar, not orange juice. Just clean, fresh water first thing in the morning. It activates your metabolism, hydrates your blood, and sets the tone for your entire day. Now, let's talk lunch. The average sandwich with white bread and processed meat? It's a trap. That white bread turns into sugar instantly. Those sauces, ketchup, barbecue, even mustard, are full of hidden sugars. Even your favorite restaurant soups may contain sugar as a preservative. So here's a powerful shift. Choose whole foods that you can recognize. Grilled chicken with broccoli and olive oil. A fresh salad with lemon juice and pumpkin seeds. lentils with turmeric and vegetables. These aren't just meals, they're fuel for a man who's rebuilding his system. For snacks, forget the cookies and crackers. Choose real, living foods. Celery sticks with peanut butter, a boiled egg, a small piece of dark chocolate, minimum 85% cocoa, if you really need something sweet. Or even a few slices of cucumber with sea salt. And when dinner comes, keep it simple, strong, and sugar-free. Salmon with sweet potatoes and sautéed spinach. A beef stir-fry with onions and peppers. Even a vegetable omelet with herbs and garlic. Remember, each bite is a message to your body. I'm here to heal you. But food is only half the equation. Let's talk about movement. After a meal, instead of sinking into the couch, walk, just for 15 minutes. Around the block, in your living room, anywhere. That light movement helps your body metabolize the meal, regulate your blood sugar, and increase circulation, including down below. Build this habit every day. Morning walks, stretching, light resistance bands. Don't think of it as exercise. Think of it as lubrication for your body. Movement keeps your joints, blood vessels, and heart active. It boosts your testosterone. It supports mood. And it reminds your body that you're not done yet. You're just getting started. Now let's talk about one of sugar's sneakiest paths. Beverages. Sodas? Loaded with sugar. Fruit juice? Just sugar in a suit. Even healthy teas from bottles. Check the label. Sugar is everywhere. So switch it up. Brew your own teas. Hibiscus tea supports blood pressure. Ginger tea boosts circulation. Green tea fights inflammation, all without sugar. Drink water throughout the day. Add lemon or mint if you like. Make water your weapon. It cleans, fuels, and empowers your system. And here's something most men forget. Your sleep is deeply tied to your sugar. The more sugar you eat, the worse your sleep becomes. It raises cortisol, disrupts your melatonin, makes you wake up tired and foggy, which leads to more sugar the next day to stay awake. Break that cycle. Eat your last meal at least 3 hours before bed. Keep it light. Avoid late-night snacks. Let your body rest, digest, and repair. That deep rest supports testosterone production, improves blood flow, and sets the stage for a healthy next day. With clearer thinking, stronger performance, and better moods. All of these things add up. They're not fads. They're not extreme. They're just small, powerful, manly decisions you make every day, with your fork, your feet, your water, your breath, and your bed. And it's not about perfection. It's about direction. You may still have a sweet dessert once in a while. That's okay. What matters is that sugar is no longer in charge. You are. Because the truth is, masculinity after 60 is not about how much you can lift, how much money you make, or how many years you've lived. It's about how intentionally you live now, how much control you claim over your health, your food, your energy. And when you take control of what you eat, when you remove the poison and replace it with power, everything changes. Your strength, your intimacy, your clarity, your future. Not just for you, but for everyone who looks up to you. There's a moment, quiet but unmistakable, when a man realizes that his efforts have begun to pay off. It doesn't come with fireworks or applause. It arrives slowly, like the rising sun through your bedroom window. A sense of ease, a breath that feels fuller, a night of sleep that finally feels like rest. You wake up and stretch your arms, and something is different. There's a strength in your chest, a steadiness in your legs, a calm in your heart. You've been healing, and now, you feel it. It starts with small things. You no longer feel that midday crash that used to hit like a wall. Your hands don't tremble before lunch. You don't crave sugar after every meal. You walk past a bakery and the scent doesn't control you. And that is power. But then something deeper begins to shift. You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror. And instead of looking away, you pause. You stand there. You really look. And for the first time in a long time, you don't just see age. You don't just see the lines or the grays. You see a man who is alive again. A man who made hard choices. A man who said, "No more," and meant it. You see clarity in your eyes, color in your face, energy in your posture, and you begin to carry yourself differently. Your partner notices too. She doesn't just see it, she feels it. The way you move through the house. The way you speak. The renewed attention you give her. Not just in the bedroom, but everywhere. You ask about her day. You listen. You laugh again. You hold her waist when she's cooking. You kiss her shoulder when she's reading. And she melts. Not because you're 20 again, but because you're present. You're there. Fully there. And intimacy begins to bloom. Slowly, naturally, without pressure or performance. Your touch is no longer hesitant. It's grounded, confident. You don't avoid her eyes in the dark anymore. You seek them. You don't pretend to be asleep. You reach for her hand. And sometimes, that hand leads somewhere beautiful. But even when it doesn't, you're still connected. Because now, your connection isn't just physical. It's emotional, spiritual, rooted in health, in truth, in courage. Because you dared to show up again. You dared to become the man she remembered, the man you remember. And that shift, that internal resurrection, begins to ripple outward. Your children see you differently. They hear the strength in your voice when you talk about your health. They notice when you pass on dessert at family dinner. They raise their eyebrows when you say you've been walking every morning. And maybe they laugh at first, but then they start asking questions. What's changed, Dad? What are you doing different, Grandpa? And suddenly, you're not just the quiet elder at the table. You're the example, the leader. And it doesn't stop there. Your friends notice too. The ones you've known for decades. They see your eyes are brighter. Your steps are quicker. You joke more. You complain less. You walk into the room and they feel your energy before you speak. And one of them, maybe the one who's been struggling in silence, pulls you aside and says, "Hey, what's your secret?" And you smile. Because it's not a secret. It's just truth. It's just nature. It's just you deciding that you were worth the effort. And you begin to share. Not like a preacher. Not like a doctor. But like a man who found his way out of the fog. A man who remembers what it was like to feel powerless, and now knows what it means to take that power back. You tell him about the sugar, about the water, about the walks, about the eggs instead of cereal, about the tea, about the sleep, about the blood flow. And you see the look in his eyes. That same spark that once flickered in yours. And now, you've passed it on. That's how healing works. That's how truth spreads. One man to another. Not in grand speeches, but in quiet conviction. You realize that you're not just feeling better. You're becoming a man others can count on. A man others can learn from. A man whose strength is not in how loud he is, but in how alive he is. This is the reward no one talks about. Not just better erections, not just more energy, but the return of self-respect, the return of dignity, the return of identity. Because when you cut sugar, you don't just lose weight. You lose excuses. You lose numbness. You lose that voice in your head that said, "This is just how it is now." You hear a new voice, one that says, "I'm back," and you are. And now we arrive at the threshold. You've walked with me through memory and truth, through the rise and fall of sugar, through the damage and the healing. And now, here we are, face to face with the man you're becoming. Take a breath, really. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. That breath, that simple, sacred act, it's yours again. You've earned it. You've seen what sugar has done. You've felt the slow theft of energy, of strength, of passion. You've endured the quiet embarrassment, the loss of intimacy, the sleepless nights, the swelling, the weakness. You've watched life shrink when your blood no longer flowed the way it once did. And worse, you thought that was normal. But now you know, it isn't. It never was. You were lied to, conditioned, trained to believe that aging must come with decline, that manhood has an expiration date, that your role is to fade into the background, accept your medications, and wait out the years. But you didn't buy it. You questioned it. You listened. And then, you acted. And let me tell you, that action, that moment when you decided to reclaim your body, was the most courageous thing you've done in decades. It wasn't loud, no one applauded, but it changed everything. Because real strength isn't about pushing weight or barking orders. Real strength is quiet. It's in the hand that closes the fridge at night, in the feet that rise for a walk instead of the couch, in the eyes that look in the mirror and say, "I'm still here." That strength? That's you. You didn't just say no to sugar. You said yes to life, to circulation, to desire, to intimacy, to vitality, to being the man your younger self dreamed he'd still become. And now, the world feels different. You notice the air. You notice the light. You notice your body, not as a burden, but as an ally. You feel your blood moving, not sluggish, but alive. Your limbs carry you with purpose. Your spine stands straighter. Your words come clearer. Your presence fills the room. This is what they never told you. That masculinity after 60 isn't about loss. It's about depth. It's about the fire that burns quieter but hotter. It's about the power that isn't about proving, but about being. Being the rock your family leans on. Being the fire your partner still feels. Being the wisdom your friends admire. Being the soul your younger self would be proud of. And now, with every step you take, you lead others. You become the man who reminds other men that it's not too late. That strength can return. That desire can reignite. That love can deepen. That erections can come back stronger, fuller, longer. Not because of pills, but because of truth, because of healing, because of nature, because of you. You've become the example, the lighthouse. And in doing so, you've begun a new chapter. One filled not with endings, but with beginnings. More connection, more confidence, more clarity, more nights of passion, more mornings of pride, and all of it, because you made one choice, to stop numbing and start living. That's what removing sugar really is. It's not just about blood pressure, not just about prostate health, not just about testosterone or insulin or nitric oxide. It's about permission. You giving yourself permission to come back, to return, to rise. You no longer walk with shame, you walk with certainty. Your body is no longer a source of confusion, it's a source of power. Your age is no longer a limitation, it's your crown. Every wrinkle is a line of strength, every gray hair a thread of experience, every scar a memory of what you've overcome. And ahead of you, more. More days of clarity, more nights of strength, more moments of presence, more life. This is what it means to be a man at 60, 70, 80 and beyond. Not fading, but forging. Not withering, but waking up. And if ever you doubt, if ever you're tempted to give in again, to go back to the sugar, to the numbness, to the fog, remember this. You didn't come this far to give your power away again. You are not who you were. You are stronger, clearer, wiser, and far, far from finished. So keep walking, keep choosing, keep feeding your body with what it craves, not poison, but purpose. Keep drinking water like it's sacred, keep moving with gratitude, keep sleeping like a man who knows tomorrow is worth waking up for. And when others ask you, and they will, what changed, what you're doing, what's your secret, tell them the truth, tell them the story. Tell them you stopped believing the lie, and that you started living the life you were meant for. Because that life, that strength, that intimacy, it's not in a bottle, it's not in a pill, it's not in a commercial, it's in your kitchen, in your hands, in your heart. And it starts with the courage to say, I'm not done yet. Because you're not. You're just getting started.